So today we're going to be talking about The Alchemist by Paulo. It's an adventure fantasy fiction novel. Everyone, when they're young, knows what their personal legend is. At this point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They're not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything they would like to see happen to them in their lives. But as time passes, a mysterious force begins to convince them that it will be impossible for them to realize their personal legend. That is what we're going to be talking about and discussing in this book talk. Is what is a personal legend and how does that relate to this character, right? I think one of the big themes that this book talks about is a personal legend. So some may think that a personal legend is, one series event that happens in your life, but I think it is multiple um, events that lead up to, the ending, this happy ending that you have. So one of the really big themes that Paciello really goes through is a personal legend. And I like to think of a personal legend as like a hero's journey and what, that happens to get you to your ultimate, uh, you know, goal. We also have some smaller themes such as fate. How does fate affect your, you know, the way that you go about life, and also um, love and wisdom and stuff like that. But let's talk about what a personal legend is. Personal legend is um, you know, how that relates to the story. It's the importance of dreams and the interconnections of things, a really big one that we talk about is literally in the title is alchemy, right? And that's based on the metal that transforms, that the most valuable metal into gold. And you can really see that transformation that the metal goes through and how that works for uh Santiago when he goes through his journey trying to find out what is the best for him. The alchemist really represents Santiago's journey to achieve his personal legend. And we'll go about, talking about that later. So let's really talk about where even is this, you know? So there's a lot of different places that Santiago goes throughout his journey, such as Spain, Morocco, the Sahara Desert, and Egypt, right? And he goes through this journey where he's finding stuff within himself to, go through life and what he really needs to do in life to make him, ultimately reach his goal. So Santiago is the protagonist of this book. He's originally like a shepherd boy from a small town, and he's a very determined, headstrong, curious, adventurous person, right? He becomes curious about the world, and his parents actually wanted him to become a priest, but he decided to become a shepherd so he could see a little bit more of the world than, outside of what his parents really wanted. So I feel like that's one of the first things that we get to. He liked to read, all this sorts of thing. So he liked to really see the world for what it is. After he had these like interpretations about, he wanted to know about more about these dreams that he was having. So it wasn't, he took this opportunity to travel across the continent, and uncover what his dream meant and why he had these dreams in the first place. He wasn't really sure what he wanted to do, um, if he even wanted to go through with finding out what his dream meant to him. But after talking to somebody in the book, King of Solomon, also, he decided to go through and fulfill his dream. So another character that we see is the alchemist, which is ultimately, once he's farther along in his journey, he wants to become learn more about alchemy and stuff like that. So the alchemist is like a very mysterious character in this book. He's a very powerful practice. He practices alchemy and is very heavily known, you know, in the alchemy world. But in his town, he's not very known for what he does, but he is possesses the masterwork, which has a lot of different things that help reach the end goal of alchemy, which is to turn regular metal into gold. And again, relating it back to Santiago's journey, which is what he's doing in his life, teaches Santiago the way of alchemy, which then helps him realize uh, his journey. Okay. First person that he talks to, which is the King of Solomon. King of Solomon was the first to show Santiago, uh, first to show Santiago, like, meet Santiago as like an old man in this Spanish town that he comes across when he's traveling and stuff, right? But he plays an important role in Santiago's journey, which helps him learn about what a personal legend is, number one, and helps him realize, hey, this is something I need to do, and I need to figure out what that means to me, right? And then we have the Crystal Merchant, which is someone a little bit later in the book. Um, but he is a friend of Santiago's and helps him get a little bit more of why finding your personal legend is important, because the crystal merchant never goes through with what his personal legend is. He just, lets fear of him not having the stuff after he finishes his journey take over him. So now we have the Englishman and Fatima. So the Englishman is a very highly intelligent, educated person. He is also an inspired alchemist that helps another part helps Santiago realize, hey, I need to know more. I need to have more experience in my life, not just be heavily enthralled with books and such like that. Also have different things that I need to have going on, experience, hands-on learning, not just learning stuff within a book. It's good to be book smart, but again, you want to have that stuff also, right? And then we have Fatima, which is this beautiful woman that he comes across. Um, when he's, traveling as a shepherd, but he we see Fatima and Santiago's journey throughout, he really struggles within himself to see, if do I really want to stay with Fatima, something that I want to do, or do I really want to go find this treasure and see what that is for me, you know? He struggles with that, between the comfortability of life and figuring out what is for me, right? But like I was saying before, he really, Santiago really struggles with that inner conflict between his personal legend and, what his heart really wants. Because what his heart really wants is just to live with Fatima, in a small town and, you know, just live his life there. But what does that really do for you, right? And I feel like that's what Paulo really wanted us to see. It's good to have, live comfortably and live happily. But again, will you be satisfied with that in life, right? So Santiago learns really what it means to follow your own path, learn your intuitions, and just learn from experience, right? And how that really ropes into life, to trust your intuitions and to dream dreams, right? And to uh, have those dreams and realize them, that they can come true, that you can do them. But you can't let anybody else dictate your, uh, how you want to live your life. Don't let fear dictate how your life and how, fate and destiny is supposed to plan out. But would you read this book? If you liked The Monk Who Sold his Ferrari by Robin Sharma, then you would definitely like this book, because it definitely has similar parallels, that has the protagonist going through a process, leaving their old comfortable life and holding on to a new way of life that helped them, grow throughout life. So definitely, check out this book and see how, you like it. If you like that self-help, see how this character relates to me, then I would definitely check it out. But thank you again for listening to my book talk about The Alchemist by Paulo Cielo, and I will see you again.